Good morning, everybody. So Sunday morning here, I'm in the Lake District. I'm at a place called Scout Scar. Drove up last night. Horrible drive. Got here about an hour later than I thought I would. But I was in my box overnight, slept quite well. So I'm up this morning. I'm just walking up the hill now, up the footpath to see what we get for sunrise. It's quite a pleasant morning. Peaceful. It's quite light already, as you can see. It's quite heavy cloud cover, but looks like there's going to be some nice textures in there when we get some sun or a bit of morning light. So I'm just walking around, walking up the path to try and get see if I can find my first composition. I've never been here before, so I don't know it at all. Lovely. Really nice view here. Let me show you this. So the clouds are lovely. It's very heavy, which worries me about any sun poking through, but if we get colour, toned through, even without direct sunlight, I think it could be really, really nice. Really like these, I don't know if you can see them, the mountains in the background with the clouds rolling over them. They look absolutely stunning, so this might be a nice shot here. I'm going to walk on and see what else there is, and I may come back here. I mean, it does look like rain over there. Checked the forecast this morning and said it wasn't going to rain today, or a very, very, very low chance. Might be a bit damp in places, but that's okay. I think we can live with that. We're hardy, aren't we? So the light is stunning this morning. As that sun's come up, it's lit this canopy of clouds, and we're getting a beautiful, it was pinky a minute ago, it's kind of a bit bluey now glow from that radiating down. And where these clouds are quite low, they're intersecting with the mountains and creating lovely misty, foggy mountain tops, which is that moisture's picking up the light from the rising sun, and it's, I've got to be honest, absolutely stunning this morning. So let me talk you through this composition that I'm doing. I've taken a couple of shots already, but let me just show you. So it's this amazing view we have over here. So I've zoomed right in. Show you that. So I've zoomed right into that mountain range, and what I'm looking for is this, is how those mountains are intersecting with the valley running through them. So you're getting these crisscrossing lines. We've got that low-lying mist or rain just sitting in the valley, and then the colour from the sun just picking up. Okay, so composition-wise, you can, I'm showing you on the back of the screen here what the camera's seeing. So although the camera is shooting, because it's in video mode, it's shooting 16:9, I'm actually shooting this full frame. So if I show you the bottom, so I've focused up to this little gap here. Just, you can see at the bottom of the screen, just where those trees are intersecting, and then you're on the bottom right hand corner, you've got this little ziggy-zaggy bush fence line, which I think is a really fascinating piece of the countryside. And you've got kind of a similar one just in the middle of the frame. So there, that's kind of where I'm looking at the bottom of the frame. The sky is just then held in by the clouds. I mean, as you can see, there's so much cloud that there's no real top to the image, which is fine. I don't want too much top in the image, too much cloud in the image. I quite like that nice balance of foreground, mountain range in the middle, and then a little bit of sky in the top. Left and right of the image, so we are... So left and right, I really like on the left-hand side how we have this again, small valley just cutting through. And there's not a huge amount of interest or anything that's really standing out to me on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, we've got the Scout Scar, which is what I'm standing on, which is just intersecting, which I don't want. So I'm just pulling that out from the right and then just lining up the left to which looks nice. So the edge of the right, I'm trying to get rid of Scout Scar, just there disappearing, and then you can see you've got this lovely crossover on the right side where the rear mountains are just disappearing behind the 4 hillock mountain range. So add a little bit of height, and we just get a nice little gap between that little V, and it just nicely holds it in the frame but leads out quite nicely as well. And then that sort of dictates the left hand side, which I really like. Again, we can see that line coming in, but it's not a direct line out, it just fades away very gently and then leads in. And then you've got this beautiful piece of valley with the colour and the 4 mountain tops just poking in. It's absolutely stunning. So yeah, so that's composition. That's how I've lined up as I have. So yeah, let me show you the image processed. So in this video I want to talk about intent. You'll hear people talk about, in photography, the intent of an image. Another word that I like to use for this is what's the story of the image. And before you even put your camera on your tripod and you turn it on, or even before you even get it out of the bag, you need to understand, or you need to have worked out what your intent is. What is the story you're trying to say within this image? So in the image that I've just taken, the intent, the story for me was the colour in the mist which was sitting in that valley. That was the bit that's the story that I wanted to get across. That's the emotion, that's the feeling that I wanted to portray. So once I saw that and I thought that's what I want to try and do, I then set my composition up and my framing up and my exposure and all the rest of it to enhance that piece of intent. It wasn't a case of just going, oh, it kind of looks lovely in that rough direction, I'll point my camera and see what I get. It was about finding the story to tell. So, I mean, this landscape is beautiful this morning, and there's so many different elements that are just gorgeous, but it's finding that intent and that story that you want to portray for that specific element that you're looking at. Hi everyone, I hope you like that image. So intent can sometimes be quite difficult to talk about and to get the concept across. So, you know, that's sometimes why I like the term telling a story as well. And it's all about you though. It's about what you are trying to show. It's about what you are trying to get across in the image. How you're feeling in that moment, what you're seeing, what you're looking at. The important thing with it is to, before you even take your camera out the bag, is to know what you're trying to say. So, you know, the process is you go out in the field or wherever you're in the studio or whatever, you pick your subject, a tree, a valley, a mountain, a weather front, still life, flowers, whatever, and then you move around and you compose that image, you frame that subject within the image in a way to tell the story of that subject that initially drew your interest or that you're focused on. What you have to be careful of is being too rigid. Sometimes we go, right, the intent is I'm going to get a lovely sunset over the water, and then when you get there, there's no light, or there's the weather's no good, the location's no good, the equipment's not right, you've got the wrong lens with you. You can be too rigid. So the idea with the intent and telling the story is within that moment that you're in. Don't be too rigid and too stuck into, it must be this, because that's the frustration, is when we're stuck in, oh, it must be this, and then we don't get it afterwards when we look back at it on the screen. That's where the frustration of photography can come from, where it's like, oh, I didn't get what I wanted, it's not what I was envisaging. And that's down to your intent in your story and getting that vision from before you even start to the end. So talking about vision and that image that I've just shown you, so I'm going to do the processing now. We'll zip through that, and then we'll come back and I'll just talk you through roughly what I've done in the processing to enhance the story and enhance the intent of that image. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so you've seen my processing now sped up. If you want to get a bit more detail, then slow it down in YouTube, which you can do, as you can see there. If you've got any questions or you've got any comments on it, then leave a comment below. Okay, let me take you back into Lightroom, and I'm going to take you through the image and the basics of what I've done to try and get this image processed, focusing on the intent. Okay, so first of all, we know that the intent is this central area of the image, the haze, the colours, and the mist through these interlocking, crisscrossing mountains in the background. That's the intent. That's the story I want to tell. That's the bit that I like. To frame that, we've got the sky holding us in at the top, and we've got the at the bottom we focused in. We've got the wiggly line of bush here on the right, the one in the centre, and then we've got that little gap just under the tree before those other trees came in, which you would have seen in the composting clip or composing clip earlier in the video. And then left and right hand side, we've just got a nice finish to the frame so that it just holds the image in. It's not falling out, nothing's pulling your eye out. So let me bring up the before and the after. Let's go 100%, sorry, let's go fit, so we'll be able to see what we're doing. So you can see straight away that there's a lot more colour in the image, and there's a lot more contrast and sharpness in the image. So basically the first thing I did was I worked on the sky. Let me flip all these off. So these are all my masks. So we go back to basically the beginning. There are some adjustments in the basics panels which we will come to as we go. They're just, you can see there's only subtle changes, a slight change in colour, and then just playing around with texture and clarity, because it was quite a misty morning, quite a hazy morning with the rain and everything. Nothing super sharp. I'm alright with that. I don't need it to be like tack sharp, but I've just added a little bit of punch back into the image just to add a little bit of sharpness, a little bit of definition to the lines. So the first thing I did is work on the sky, just bring that sky down. So the first mask is just a sky mask, just to bring the depth down. So white's up, black's down on this one, which adds contrast, which then actually adds colour as well. So I've done a slight reduction in the saturation just to remove that colour. Second mask is the same, back into the sky, but it's the top half of the sky, just to pull the image down. Again, this is so this was blacks down and exposure down, and then saturation down, just to remove that contrasted colour that was added. And then for the base of the image, and then there's the next mask where I just use a linear gradient. I've just reduced the saturation on that actually slightly, because it was a bit heavy for me. This bottom area is quite difficult to work on because there's no light, there's nothing going on. It felt very heavy and very claggy, but I've used that to just root the image and show, because it was quite early in the morning still, to show that it was actually quite dark. You know, the sun wasn't up, so it was still quite a dark, dull day. So brought that down, brought that base down. That will, like I said, roots you in the image and allows your eye to move upwards. And then that's held in by the cloud at the top. So we've worked at the moment all the way around the image, but not on the area that we want to focus on, which is this central area. So the next mask is just a radial in that centre, which is lightened. So I've brought the exposure up, and I've tweaked the colours slightly, and I've actually added a little bit of dehaze, which is not a slider I play with a lot. I'm not a big fan of it, but when it works really well. So I've added a little bit of dehaze just to pull that centre of the image out, followed by some modelling. So this filter here is just painted with a brush just on the tops of the mountains, just to add a little bit of modelling, a little bit of 3D effect to the image, to these mountains, to separate them from what's around them. The next mask is actually just bringing the top and the sides in, just because they were a little bit light on the corners, so just pulled those in. A slight colour change in this top right hand side for that one, for that mask 7. And then the final mask was mask 8, which is, what did I do here? don't think I did anything with this one. So it's there, but I've got no idea what I'm doing. So yeah, so I was trying something and it didn't. Oh no, I'll tell you what it was. There it is, down in the bottom right hand corner. So you can see that there's this light panel of grass. There's this light panel of grass here. So mask 8 is just removing that, which is a distraction from, you know, which is a bit of a distraction in the eye in the image. So just remove that, or soften that off so it's not such a distraction. You will have seen me as well, I did some, in this bottom right hand corner again, there was some bit of dark foliage in the corner and a line which was not, you don't see it that much, but it's there, so just a slight, you know, softening of that away. And then some dust spots, and then just a little bit of playing around with the HSL channels, just to get that colour where I want it to be. Now, as always, this is an artist's proof, so I'm not sure whether I fully like it yet. You know, it might need some more tweaking. I'll come back to it over the next few days or weeks. Not sure fully on the colour yet. I don't know if it's a bit too heavy. I might back that off a little bit, but we'll see how we go. But I hope you like that image, and I hope you like that idea of focusing the intent around the processing, or the processing around the intent. So I hope you enjoyed that and you learned something from that. If you did, please hit that thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. I'd love you to subscribe to the channel. That will really help me out. Thank you very much. And just before we go back to me on location, I'm going to show you a couple more images from the morning. So I've spent about an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half up here so far this morning. The light's changing and it's lovely. It really is a nice spot. I've just shot a picture of the mushroom, I think it's called, which is on the top of this path here. It's an amazing place. It's got 360 views of the whole, you know, of the area, which is incredible because we've got, you know, the lakes over this way, you know, Homefell and that is over in that direction, which is amazing. We've got the rest of the lakes over there, and then we go over to Yorkshire over that side. And then you can even see, on a clear day, if you've got a telescope, Blackpool Tower over there. So, over in that direction, which is incredible. So yeah, I've just shot the mushroom, as it's called. It was only supposed to be B-roll, but I actually quite like the image. So you'll be able to see that now. So the intent of that image was B-roll, but then I liked it and I ended up shooting it, swapped to the wider angle lens rather than the zoom lens, and I shot it with the mushroom on the left and then that tree on the right, just to frame the mountains in the background, which was the same ones I was shooting a little bit earlier. That valley in the background, I quite like it. It's not a, you know, it's just a nice image, I think. So that was the intent of that, was actually to show the mushroom in situ with what I'm doing this morning. So the next intent now is I'm going to head back to the car and have some breakfast. Right, see you soon.